Turning to our first look at the forecast now, and it was certainly not too bad of a day for some ice skating. All 50 of the city's free outdoor rinks are now open, but if you're planning on heading to a rink tomorrow, you'll want to dress even warmer with temperatures set to drop. With that, let's bring in our weather specialist, Noor Afat. Hey, Noor.
Hey, thanks very much, Kevin. Yeah, that's right. We knew it couldn't last forever, but unfortunately, it's still heartbreaking to deal with that transition back to some bone-chilling cold, which will happen in the next 24 to 48 hours in the GTHA. Looking at the Toronto skyline right now, we're seeing this mainly cloudy skies providing a gray backdrop, almost making it seem like the sky is lighter than it is. But no, sunset at 4:41 in Toronto right now, which is quite sad. And I'm sure many of you have noticed just how quickly that sun has been fading. We still relished into milder conditions today for many across this side of Ontario at least. So no, you were not imagining it. After that brutal cold, which I'm sure many remember on Thursday, things felt a whole lot better on Friday, heading into the evening as well. And into today, we are starting to see those winds shift already for some communities, which means in the next few hours and heading into tomorrow, we're going to see the return of that Arctic air. Chillier conditions ahead, and the most chilly of all will be on Monday. Wintry scenes outside still around Georgian Bay with some snow squalls towards the Ottawa region. Tomorrow, we get a fresh blanket of snow around the late morning in southern Ontario, continuing east. It'll be over by the evening, mostly flurries for some communities, but we are expecting some accumulation with this, also expecting the return of some windy conditions. So gusts later in the evening in Toronto, upwards of 45, maybe even 50 km. Those temperatures taking a dive, -1 for your high. Kevin?
Thanks, Noor. As the temperatures get colder, the city is keeping warming centers open. Those centers are open 24/7, offering a warm indoor resting place for those experiencing homelessness. Meals, washrooms, and other shelter and community services are available. The centers are located at 136 Spadina Road, 81 Elizabeth Street, 349 George Street, 12 Holmes Avenue, and 885 Scarborough Golf Club Road. All right, we got our Noor Afat here for our Sky Tracker forecast. It's been kind of mild, but I hear that's not going to last.
Yes, that's true, Kevin. If you like your rug, Mother Nature is going to yank it right from under your feet.
Oh, how rude.
Yes, and if there's something that I really want to highlight in the next few days is how important it is to check the temperatures before you head outside, because we could be looking at a risk of frostbite in the coming days. Let's take a look at how those temperatures are going to fare. Starting to feel the difference already come tomorrow. -1 your high, feeling closer to -6 to -7 in the afternoon, and it's going to get windier heading into the evening. Those gusts from the west-northwest, aka ushering in that colder air. So yes, it will get colder as the evening progresses, and it will feel colder with those gusting winds. Where we're seeing the Arctic air at its fullest right now, at its strongest, gripping large parts of the prairies in northern Ontario. And watch what happens into the next 2 days. We're going to see it continue its journey further south, further east, taking over with these bone-chilling conditions before we see some relief shortly after that, especially as you head towards southern sections of this side of the country. We're going to see those temperatures return to milder conditions after that significant drop in temperature, and really it's going to be a roller coaster when it comes to those digits. So warming up and then cooling back down, warming up again, cooling back down. We also have to deal with some messy weather, starting with that snow. Early to late morning come tomorrow. It moves out by the evening. We're still seeing snow squall activity around Lake Huron, Lake Georgian Bay as well into your Monday. This is expected to be our sunniest day, but unfortunately it will come at the expense of those temperatures. It'll also be the coldest day we're expecting into the next 7 days. So do be mindful of that as you get the kids ready for school on Monday, as you head out the door to work. It's going to be a bone-chilling kind of cold. By Tuesday, system system number 2 comes knocking on the door, and we're expecting some snow, transitioning potentially into mixed precipitation heading into your Wednesday. So really being mindful of those changing temperatures in the next few days. Don't walk out of the house before checking the temperatures beforehand. Watch what happens when we head into Monday. -5, feeling closer to -11 with the wind chill. By Tuesday, it's +1 degree with that heavy snow. 3 degrees by Wednesday, mixed precipitation, and then starting to see those temperatures drop right back in again. So wanting to highlight the risk of flash freezing on Thursday. When those temperatures drop, the rain, the wet weather on the roads, on the sidewalks will freeze. Risk of black ice and slippery conditions to be expected.
Our first look at the forecast. Here's weather specialist Noor Afat.
Hey, thanks very much, Kevin. Well, we're still seeing persistent cloud cover across the downtown Toronto sky here. You can see it's giving the illusion of a brighter sky behind the Toronto skyline, but of course we know that isn't necessarily the case. Temperatures haven't moved much in the past few hours, -1 degree just now outside the Toronto airport, but we have made great strides in the past 48 hours when it comes to the overall highs. +1s across the map to -1s as you head towards London, Ontario, Waterloo region. If you remember just how abysmal the temperatures were on Thursday, improved on Friday, and even more so today. So if you were out this past hour or so in the GTHA and you're wondering, hey, it's not so bad, things weren't all that bad outside, you're not imagining it. We've gained a lot when it comes to those temperatures from Friday and heading into Saturday. Things are starting to shift, though. Those winds are starting to change direction, and that means some incoming Arctic air headed your way as early as tomorrow for many communities. Now, you know what happens when the winds shift? The snow squalls shift with them. So while some communities earlier in the day, like Huntsville, were seeing the snow squall activity, it started to shift now from the north to the south towards areas like Orillia, Barrie, Georgina, Kawartha Lakes, even all the way up towards Vaughan, Markham, and downtown Toronto. So don't be surprised if you see those flakes continue to fly later this evening. Tomorrow, another round of the snow into the early and late morning. There is a chance it could miss the downtown area in Toronto, but there is a chance to see some flurries by the afternoon. All this clears out in the evening. Now, we can't escape the Arctic air just yet. 0 degrees for your high in Toronto tomorrow, feeling closer to -5, but gusting winds up to 45-50 km in the evening will make a transition for colder weather headed your way on Monday. Kevin?
Thanks, Noor. As the temperatures get colder, the city is keeping warming centers open. Those centers are open 24/7, offering a warm indoor resting place for those experiencing homelessness. Washrooms and other shelter and community services are available. The centers are located at 136 Spadina Road, 81 Elizabeth Street, 349 George Street, 12 Holmes Avenue, and 885 Scarborough Golf Club Road. A historic home. All right, we got our Noor Afat here to give us our weather forecast. Noor, I guess good things like mild weather just don't always last.
Yes, that's certainly the case, Kevin, and I'm glad you're the bearer of bad news this time around.
Tried. No, doing my part.
Yes, it's a good thing to keep in mind, though, because we're going to have to prepare for those plummeting temperatures in the next few days. Some will plummet faster than others. Let's have a look. Temperatures very similar to the highs you experienced today in Toronto. Tomorrow, 0 degrees for that high. Maybe we'll get to +1. Unfortunately, there won't be a whole lot of sunshine. There could be some sunny breaks earlier in the morning. There is also a chance to see some snow. That's kind of how weather works in Canada. Unfortunately, we are seeing a return of Arctic air, and that's going to mean that's going to happen when we see that switch up in the wind direction from the west-northwest heading into the evening, and those winds will pick up. So gusts around that 45, maybe even 50 km range. Do be mindful that that will make conditions feel colder as you head outside, if you are heading outside late Sunday evening. You can see the Arctic air in these hues of pinks and purples, whites and grays. It's taking over large parts of the country, so it's certainly not an Ontario thing. We will see the Arctic air make an even bigger return in the coming days as it shifts further east, further south. These are what we call the lobes of the polar vortex. It's sending them further down, but a glimmer of hope appears because even though that Arctic return will be short-lived, there is some relief on the horizon, and that also will be short-lived. So it's really a matter of on again, off again in the coming days, and really highlighting again the importance of checking the temperatures before you head out the door in order to be prepared for what's to come. Speaking of preparedness, snow on the roads tomorrow early in the morning into the late morning and afternoon regions. It's going to materialize, or rather dissipate, into some flurries heading into the late afternoon and early evening. Snow squall activity could continue around Lake Huron, Georgian Bay. By Monday, though, take a look at this. Our best bet to see some sunshine. It's going to be beautiful out there. Unfortunately, it comes at the expense of those frigid temperatures that will return Tuesday. System number 2 comes knocking on the door. So do be mindful that as you're getting the kids ready for school, ready to get to work, not on Monday, I notice a big shift in those temperatures. Our high in Toronto expected to be -6, but feel closer to -9. Earlier in the morning, feeling closer to -15 potentially. Warming up Tuesday, Wednesday with some messy weather, but by the weekend, back again to colder conditions. Do be mindful, flash freeze could be possible. Black ice and slip